Hello everyone. I hope you all are doing well and welcome to our show, Meet the Global Leader, which is organized by the School of Entrepreneurship Development. The purpose of this program is to share the life experiences of our guest speakers who are from diverse background and from different countries with our audience. So today we have a wonderful guest who kindly agreed to join with us. And so, Diana, welcome to the today's session, and it's a pleasure to have you with us today.
It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So, we are going to start the session. Uh, so, can you please tell us a bit about yourself?
Of course. Well, the first thing that comes into my mind, if you ask that, is my friends would describe me as a meerkat. I don't know if you know this animal from Africa, right? The meerkat normally loves to be in an environment that is peaceful, empowering, but also in cooperation. So,
Oh,
and I think I'm a person who loves those three things, and I also thrive in this environment. And I would say I'm a meerkat that likes to be out of comfort zone. And why is that, or where is this coming from? Well, at a very early age, when I was the age of 9, I started to play volleyball very early on,
wow.
and I had a vision to become this Mila superstar. This is a cartoon from Japan, and I watch it every morning. And I wanted to become this superstar, and I decided that's why I want to play volleyball. And I was a very tall girl at that time. But then with 19, with 14, I realized that everybody overtook me, and I'm actually small. And and then I went to the doctor, and the doctor told me that, they measured my hand structure, my bones, and he said, "You're going to become 172 meters maximum," which is quite small as a volleyball player. But then I thought, I still want to be Mila superstar, and I continued working really hard, and I ended up the junior national team in volleyball, and afterwards in the senior national team in volleyball. However, just also to show my early age, I had two things in my life, and that was training every day for 4 hours and then going to the A level school, which was really hard in Switzerland. So my day was basically going to school, doing my homework and study, and then 4 hours of training. And on the weekends, we had games across Europe. There was no partying, while everybody else did those crazy experiences in Switzerland.
Okay. Yeah. So you have mentioned that you are in a national volleyball team.
Yes.
So, like, how you entered into the volleyball national team?
How do I did what?
How you entered into the
How
national
do I
volleyball
enter?
team? Yeah.
Yes. How did I enter to the national team? Well, I played in a talent pool in my area, and we had a tournament, and they have scouts for the national team. And I knew the scout is watching this game, so I got so nervous to play really well. And luckily, as an athlete, you learn to perform when you have. And I played a really good game, and they saw me playing, and very shortly afterwards I got a letter, and I still have this letter somewhere. I got the invitation to the junior national team.
Oh, okay. So coming to your academic background, so can you tell us about your university you have studied and like your academic background?
Yes, my academic background. Well, I like to be a person to be out of comfort zone and also swim against the stream. So everybody told me not to study what I studied. And what was it? It was sports science.
Oh,
And why do people think I shouldn't study that? Well, in Switzerland 20 years ago, it was very traditional. So that meant if I study sports science, I have the possibility to become a teacher or a physiotherapist. Now, I knew that I don't want to become a teacher or a physiotherapist because it wasn't my interest. However, I knew that I am really interested in how the body works, how the mental works in sports. And that's why I decided to do that. So I choose what I do based on what I love. And that I think this is one of the most important advice that I can give.
okay. So, were you involved with any kind of activities like volunteer work or like business work during your study?
During my studies, I was involved in very little other additional activities because I still trained 4 hours per day. So you have to imagine with the sports science, we have a theoretical part, but then we also have the athletic part where I had to participate in swimming, in football, and any other trainings. So that was another 3 hours of training. And in the evening, I trained 4 hours for volleyball. So next to it, I still worked for one day, but that was actually everything that I did: training, studying, working.
Oh, okay. So, can you tell us about the organization you're working now?
Of course. So the organization that I'm working now, it's basically I founded a company called Wolf Pack,
Mm-hmm.
and this company is empowering the new generation like you and
Oh,
that want to become leaders. And
that's
why is that so
nice.
important? Yes, because why is that so important? Imagine like 20 years ago, 15 years ago, when I the first time took over a team, it was very difficult to know, what do I do? How do I resolve a conflict? How do I do my one-to-ones? And I had to look up what others doing above me who maybe didn't know either what they're doing. So what we're gonna do, or what we're doing, we're providing a platform for new leaders, and they can learn everything in an Instagram style of
Oh,
yeah, exactly. So they can learn from an Instagram style platform about leadership, and I believe this is so important because the leaders that we have these days are, there's some good ones and there's some bad ones. So why not, you know, learning when you are young how to be a good leader?
yeah, exactly. So, what are the skills that you have improved during doing these activities?
Skills. Well, I think one of the skills that I learned is asking the people that have done that 100 times. So, for example, if I have a challenge to solve, instead of only thinking about what I think, I also go to talk to people who have done that already several times or are the best on what they're doing. So this is something that I learned. It helps a lot to talk to people who have done their work already. So I learned that. Then the second thing that is really dear to my heart is feedback. An athlete wants to get feedback, wants to become the best player in the world. And how do you manage to get there? This is through seeking feedback. Now, seeking feedback is one thing, and you have to go actively ask for feedback. In my career, I ask always for feedback in volleyball in my early ages, and the trainer gave feedback as well, whether it's screaming it or smashing a ball into my face. I don't suggest to do that in business, obviously, but this is very valuable to learn from from your feedback. And I feel in the business world, nobody wants to give feedback. Nobody wants to ask for feedback. And it's so valuable if you want to become the best version of yourself.
You by asking the feedback, you mean that giving feedback from people around you.
Absolutely. So let's say if you're in university, you either can ask feedback to your professor and ask, hey, what can I do better? Or you can ask the people around you, like you suggest, how what can I do better? Um, you know, also as a person, how can I improve my speaking? How can I improve this and this? So collect all the information that you can, write it down, and then start improving those things. This is the most effective way how you can become a better version of yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So, do you have any role model? If yes, who are your role models?
I have role models, yes. Maybe you have heard about the concept of having an own board room, kind of an own boardroom in your mind, which means it's a invisible boardroom where you pick different people in your life that you admire for different roles. I can give you an example. So let's say for in my visionary board, I have different seats, and I have somebody in mind for my business. I have somebody in mind for relationship matters. I have somebody in mind for speaking. So wherever I want to improve, I have somebody in my environment that I'm inspired. Now these people are not world known. The only person that is well known is Jack Ma. He's in my virtual board. Why? Because he articulates visions so powerfully, and he's absolutely humble. So I really admire that of him. And yes, that's my virtual board.
Yeah. So, is he someone in your in your profession that you admire?
Well, not directly, but he supports all those topics absolutely. He supports women empowerment. Leadership is a topic that's really dear to his heart. So yeah, it kind of fits.
Okay. So, what are the biggest decisions that you have made over the last year?
Good question. The biggest decision that I've done this year is letting go of my old life, a life that was very comfortable. I earned money. I had different teams. It was very comfortable life. So I decided to go from this comfortable life into a very uncomfortable environment, which is being an entrepreneur, trying to push this mission of empowering the new generation of leaders, which is, if you start a company, it's very insecure. You don't know how it's going to turn out. You have to battle your own traits, your own ideas, your own insecurities. So yeah, so switching from a comfortable life into a very insecure, out of comfort zone life. This is the most important decision that I've done this year.
and what are the biggest misconceptions about your work?
Misconception. Well, the biggest misconception of my work, I've been only now a couple of months into this journey. However, what I observe is that a lot of outside opinions say that being an entrepreneur is very glamorous. It can be glamorous when you have a company that is valued very highly or is a unicorn. However, behind that, there was always people who work really hard. They might be not able to balance their private life and the work life. Maybe they're only working, so they have their own issues. So it looks very glamorous from the outside, but it's really hard work. You have to deal with a lot of insecurities. And a lot of questions that you have to solve, a lot of conflicts that you have to solve. So yeah, I think this is the biggest misconception. But I knew that before I entered being an entrepreneur.
Okay, so actually, I have a question that how we can improve our entrepreneurship skills, like which skills is most important for improving our entrepreneurship skills.
The most important skill as an entrepreneur, and I have talked to many entrepreneurs in my life, is dealing with ambiguity, dealing with situations that are insecure, kind of going through the situation and being okay that you don't know all answers, then just continuing going towards your goal, your mission, um, no matter what's happening. So this is definitely something that you can practice, basically taking up a sport and practicing this endurance, this perseverance. Then another skill that I think is important is having this grand vision and being a little bit over positive, or basically having a very positive picture on how you can achieve it, and that you can achieve it. So basically your self-confidence has to be very strong. So I think you can practice that also in university, picking up different sports or projects, and practice those skills by doing.
Okay, so another question is that what makes your jobs exciting?
What makes my job exciting is, I think one thing is that I love the mission. I really think we have to create a new way of thinking for leaders, for young leaders. I really believe new leaders need the support now while the baby boomers are going out of work. And it's exciting to me because I wish I had this support back then. So this is one thing. And the second thing is, I think it's exciting to be in a state of insecurity where you don't know, does it work out, does it not work out. So it's in a way an environment that you can thrive, where you can learn a lot in a very short amount of time. And that's what makes it exciting for me.
Oh. So, are you working with a team, or how do you resolve conflict within a team?
I love this question. Conflicts, they come everywhere, right? They are
Yeah.
either in relationships or also at work or teams. So if there is a conflict, I normally keep in mind that, first of all, people, if there's a conflict, people act the way they act because, one, they are scared of something, so out of fear, or out of love. So that's kind of the two ways why a person might be mean or because somebody feels triggered. It's out of fear or out of love. So first of all, having this in mind already helps to go into this conflict. Then the second, there's a very easy framework, and I can recommend that framework to anybody. So if you have to talk about this conflict, so the first step is to set the context, saying, yesterday in the meeting, this is the context. Then you describe the behavior that you observed. Yesterday in the meeting, I noticed that you interrupted me twice. It's a fact, right? And then the third part is to describe what impact it had. So yesterday in the meeting, I noticed that you interrupted me twice, and it made me feel that I am not so important, and I couldn't finish the point that was also important for the project. And then the last part is then come up with a suggestion. And that's what most people fail to do in a conflict. They just put the problem there, and then there it stops. But then come up with a suggestion saying, next time I would appreciate it a lot if you would allow me to finish my point. So basically, there are 4 elements to resolving a conflict, in my opinion, and it's also a framework that you can find out there, and that helps.
Well, so what strategies have had the biggest impact on your success?
Strategies in my life, or
In your journey of success, like
okay,
here you are now.
yes. So one thing we talked about, it's seeking feedback. That works a lot, because if you want to improve fast, you want to know where you can improve. So looking for feedback. Second thing is visualize. It's so powerful to visualize your goal. There are 2 kind of visualization. One is the cognitive visualization, where you think about the movement, like in basketball, and how to throw the ball, and your brain does not make a difference between the reality and what you're thinking. So you can improve, and studies have proven that you can improve your sports skills by thinking and training in your brain. And the second visualization is the goal visualization. So thinking about, where do I want to end up, and have a clear picture on how does success look like. And then meditate on it. Sit down, think about how that looks like when I achieve this moment. Athletes do that all the time. In business, I think it's coming up slowly, but yeah, I think there's more improvement to be done. So this is very powerful to do that regularly. And then what else? Clear communication. I think it's a cultural topic as well, but I do believe if you know exactly what you want and what you need, that you can articulate it clearly. Because what I observed is that many people hint towards different things, or problems or issues or what they want, but they don't tell it how it is. So they assume that people can read their minds. So I think it is important to be able to articulate exactly what you mean in a respectful way.
Communication skills.
Communication skills is the most important, whether it's in a relationship, in working, wherever you go. If you have to learn one skill, I would say it's communication.
Yeah, and that's the most important skill. Okay, so how did you use your experience to influence your decision making?
I love this question. Thank you for the question. to make a decision, I think the best is if you have your own framework on how to make decisions. Now, I have a framework where some people criticize it. So that's how I do decisions. If I have a decision to make, I, one, ask people who are really good at it, who know this field really well. I ask for their opinion. I ask the opinion of people who have a lot of experience in this field. Then I ask people who have the data. And the fourth, I ask then myself, what do I do with all those opinions? What do I think is right? Now, from the outside, some people tell me, you have the answer within you. You don't have to ask everybody all the time. And I don't agree. I think you learn from people who have done that already, who made those mistakes already. So why would you not ask them and then build your own opinion? So that's how I make decisions. And it is right for me. And for some, it's not.
Yeah. So coming back to the sports, as I also play football. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah. So, how you like? What do you think about the necessity of the sports for women?
Yes. I think this is one of the most important things that women evolve in sports. And why? Because sports gives you so many skills for business. You know, in sports, you learn how to be confident, you learn how to take responsibility, you learn how to deal with difficult situations. I mean, you as a football player, you know how it is. What position were you?
Really,
Oh,
I started. It's only 2 or 3 months that I started playing football.
okay. So what position do
Yeah.
you like?
Uh, Mostly nowadays I'm playing as a goalkeeper.
Okay, goalkeeper. I love it. Okay, I
Yeah.
was a goalkeeper in volleyball basically. And as a goalkeeper, you have a very particular um, kind of responsibility. So
Yes.
it's you the person who can save the team from losing or getting a
Yeah.
goal. So it's a lot of pressure on you to hold those balls, right? And also as a goalkeeper, also a defense player like me, you're expected to perform. So if you do well, this is what it's expected. Versus if you then mistakenly do a mistake, um, then this is something where people feel,
Yeah.
you play well. And
Yeah. Exactly.
exactly, right. And to deal with this mental strength or mental situation will help you in the business world as well. So I think it's not a unique female thing. I think everybody should go out there, do team sports to become a better leader.
Wow. It's my last question.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. What do you think about the future skills needed for youths to excel in their field, like in their professional?
Yeah, look, as AI is coming more and more into our lives and
Yeah.
AI taking over a lot of hard skills, I believe that our mission is to become really good in soft skills. And there I think about topics like empathy. I think about listening to people to see where they at, meaning also caring about people. I, for example, in my teams, I hand them over the best doctor address, the best yoga retreat. It doesn't matter whether it's it's not only business. I really care about their lives, and I think this is a skill that will be needed more and more in the future. And then, like we already talked about, communication is super important. There's
It,
so many
yeah.
misunderstandings only because of communication. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for everything that you have shared today with us and with our audience. And I'm sure that the audience learned so many new things. And like as I learned many new things that I might not have known before. Thank you so much.
That's really valuable. Thank you. And just reach out if you need anything.
Yeah. Thank you. Sure.
Thank you.